This country on the northern edge of South America was once a distant colonial outpost, and today it stands at the center of debates about oil, democracy, and survival. By the early 1500s, European ships were threading the Caribbean waters off these shores, and in the centuries that followed, an empire was built here in the name of Spain. Today, thanks to advanced AI reconstructions, we can glimpse the streets of colonial Caracas, the battle smoke of independence, and the booming oil fields that reshaped a nation. First, I want to talk about the earliest encounters between worlds. This view shows the arrival of Europeans, late 1498, early 1500s. In the foreground, waves break on a golden sandy cove. In the midground, small sailing vessels bob under a blazing tropical sun. In the background, dense forest creeps toward the horizon. It is here, in 1498, that Christopher Columbus first sighted the land that would centuries later be named Venezuela, Little Venice, by the explorer Alonso de Ojeda. Indigenous peoples from the Arawak to Carib groups watch from the shore, curious and cautious. The air is thick with the smell of salt, wood, and unfamiliar voices. This was a moment of encounter that mattered because it marked the beginning of seismic change. Trade, disease, conquest, and cultural upheaval all radiated out from this very coastline. In the years that followed, European adventurers would push inland, planting flags and building outposts that became the seeds of colonial towns and cities. This view shows early colonial settlements, mid-1500s. Stretched across the screen is the ramshackle settlement of Coro, one of the first colonial towns established by Spaniards in the 1530s. Adobe homes with red tile roofs cluster around a dusty plaza. Merchants haggle over cacao beans and hides, while the clang of a distant hammer echoes from the construction of walls and missions. Indigenous laborers, enslaved Africans, and Spanish cavalry share the streets in uneasy proximity. Tension flickers here like heat on pavement. Every step forward for the colonists meant dispossession for others. These places mattered because they were the foundations of Spanish economic power in the region, exporting commodities back to Europe and adjusting the social fabric of the land forever. Later, these settlements would grow into larger cities like Caracas and Maracaibo, anchoring colonial rule for centuries. This view shows Caracas, colonial capital, early 1700s. From high above, you see terracotta rooftops cascading down a valley toward distant blue hills. The cathedral spire points toward an open sky. In this era, Caracas was the administrative heart of the Captaincy General of Venezuela. Students in 1721 walked into the Universidad de Caracas, one of the America's oldest universities, its stones heavy with history. Farmers brought tobacco and cacao into the plazas. Market cries mingled with church bells. But beneath this bustle lay mounting grievances. Creole elites bristled against trade restrictions, monopolies, and taxes imposed by distant officials in Spain. This friction mattered because it seeded the ideas that would fuel resistance and eventual uprising. By the late 18th century, these tensions would ripple outward, pushed by global calls for liberty. This view shows the revolution of April 19, 1810, Caracas Plaza. Here, in the cobblestone foreground, crowds shout and wave banners. Spanish cavalry line the midground, faces tense, swords drawn. It is April 19, 1810, and the colonial Captain General Vicente Emperan has just been forced out of his office by a local council known as the Supreme Junta of Caracas. The air smells of sweat, horse leather, and hope. For ordinary residents, this was an electric moment. Fear and possibility intertwined as they gathered in the plaza to witness a new chapter begin.
This uprising matters because it is conventionally seen as the spark that ignited the Venezuelan War of Independence, setting the stage for battles and strategies that would span the next decade. From here, the struggle would surge and falter, reshaping the identity of an entire people.
This view shows Simón Bolívar's admirable campaign, 1813. Galloping horses tear across rugged plains, dust kicking high in their wake. In the midground, a banner waves briskly, blue, red, and yellow. This is 1813, and Simón Bolívar, later hailed as El Libertador, has launched his admirable campaign to liberate much of western Venezuela from Spanish control. Local militia join the columns, and every village passed through bursts into support or flight. The sound of gunfire echoes off distant hills. This campaign mattered because it reversed earlier setbacks and rekindled the revolutionary cause, bringing fresh momentum to independence forces. By its close, Bolívar had driven royalist troops back and inspired hope across the countryside, though decades of conflict still lay ahead. This view shows the Battle of Angostura, 1817. On the winding banks of the Orinoco River, smoke rises like ghostly columns over battered fortifications. Soldiers in ragged uniforms huddle behind earthworks, the river's water a deep brown swirl in the background. José Antonio Páez, Manuel Piar, and others press the siege under Bolívar's orders, aiming to capture the strategic city, now called Ciudad Bolívar. Hunger and disease bite at both sides, and the clash is brutal. But by July 17th, the Patriots triumph, consolidating control and securing a key base from which to advance. This battle matters because it helped pivot the war towards independence, giving rebels a foothold in eastern Venezuela and weakening royalist power. This view shows the creation of the Republic, 1830. A new morning light spills over the town square in Caracas, where delegates have gathered at an assembly hall. Later, in 1826, a movement known as La Cosiata under José Antonio Páez challenged centralized rule in Gran Colombia, stirring talks that culminated in Venezuela's formal separation and the Constitution of 1830. The air hums with debate, pens scratching paper, flags fluttering in the breeze. For everyday citizens, this transition promised autonomy and self-rule after years of war and uncertainty. It mattered because it marked the birth of Venezuela as a sovereign republic, a nation striving to define its own course after colonial domination and regional federation. This view shows the oil boom, early 20th century. Rolling fields stretch toward the horizon, punctuated by steel derricks that groan and creak in the heat. In the foreground, workers in stained overalls tend the rigs, sweat rolling down faces, engines thumping like distant drums. By 1914, oil was discovered near Maracaibo, and in the decades that followed, Venezuela became one of the world's leading petroleum exporters. Towns near Lake Maracaibo swelled with laborers, and ports hummed with tankers bound for foreign markets. This boom mattered because it transformed the economy, financed modern infrastructure, and reshaped the nation's social fabric, bringing wealth, inequality, and new global ties. Later, the government would nationalize the industry, placing this resource at the heart of national identity and politics. This view shows Caracazo and political unrest, 1989. Night has fallen in the crowded streets of Caracas. Horns blare in chaos, fires flicker against concrete apartment blocks, and protesters shout chants that blend anger and desperation. In late February 1989, what began as bread riots over economic reforms quickly escalated into widespread upheaval, an eruption now known as the Caracazo. Daily life here was broken by tension, tear gas, curfews, and trembling families seeking safety. This moment mattered because it exposed deep fractures in Venezuelan society, inequality, frustration, and distrust in government, that would echo into the next generation and influence the rise of new political movements.
This view shows the Bolivarian Revolution, 1999, present. From the steps of the National Assembly in Caracas, supporters wave bright flags as Hugo Chávez speaks into a microphone, his voice resonant with promise. Social missions are launched to alleviate poverty. Constitution halls buzz with debate and rewriting. This era matters because it redefined Venezuela's political identity, centralizing power, redefining social policy, and drawing intense global attention. Later, after Chávez's death in 2013, Nicolás Maduro assumed leadership, steering the nation through economic crisis, migration waves, and fierce international scrutiny. Today, these events still shape daily life, from bustling markets to long lines at petrol stations.
Looking back at this vast sweep, from colonial plazas to modern avenues, it feels as though the past is within arm's reach. The stones, the streets, the rhythms of life are all layered with centuries of story. If there's another city or moment or scene you'd like to explore more deeply in this series, let me know in the comments. Again, thank you so much.